Welcome back to Warthrone Weekly News. This week is the beginning of what I like to call devblog season. Devblog season is, well, when devblogs start coming out. And we have just received our first devblog of 1.71. And that is the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger. I probably butchered that. I'm just going to call it the Waffenträger from now on. Waffenträger is a prototype that came out in 44, try to modernize German's army. Probably something you should do before you start a global conflict. But anyways, the idea was to combine our artillery tractors and tank destroyers into one. And honestly, I think they kind of failed with this experiment. The Waffenträger was armed with the well-known Long 88 that we see on Tiger 2s and whatnot. But it has, I think it maxed 20 millimeters of armor. Now, this armor is commonly at high angles, but that's not going to stop anything serious. While hearing it was rather lightly armored, I was hoping it would go rather fast and be like a German high-tier Hellcat, or like a super Hellcat, I guess. But it is not. Its max speed is 35 kilometers per hour, and apparently faces trouble with hills. But it is only capable of delivering 140 horsepower, which is the cause of this unfortunate slow speed. It is also an open top, so you are in danger of aircraft. What I'm hoping, though, is that it has a rather fast reload rate. And throughout this devblog, Gaijin keeps on mentioning that it's going to be high-ranking. They don't mention any battle ratings or anything, but they keep on saying it's going to be a high-ranking vehicle. The only upside it has above the Northstar is the turrets. It has a full rotating turret. Doesn't say anything on how fast that turret will rotate. Hopefully it's not terrible, like just about everything else with the tank. I can't see this thing much more than 5.7, to be honest. Having a turret isn't exactly going to save this thing, unless it also has a great reload rate. The devblog suggests that you should use it for ambushes, but ambushes for when your team is losing, it doesn't exactly preach a whole lot of inspiration to using the vehicle. Regardless, it's the first announced vehicle of 1.71. There's also been a lot of talk of there being a large announcement coming up next week for Gamescome 2017. So next week is going to be rather crazy. A lot of people have been trying to speculate on what this next event is going to be. Some people are connecting it to the Twitter and Facebook posts about asking people if they want to have modern vehicles and whatever that entails. And according to Mike 10D, there's a few other vehicles that he suggests that will be coming out for 1.71, and those are the SU-6, but powered with the AM-42 engine, the Ki 109, which is a Japanese heavy fighter, but was only armed offensively with a Type 88 75mm cannon, which is a rather good cannon from what I hear, or what I've read on Wikipedia. The BTR 152A, which is a Russian anti-air truck. It's a half-track with 2 or 4 50 cals in the back. Russian ones, of course. And the BMP-1, which is a IFV. It's armed with a odd 73mm cannon. And I believe also had ATGMs. People have been discussing a lot on where this is going to fall in the tree. My personal take is it's probably going to be a Tier 4 premium. Also this week we got 2 Q&As. The first one was chock full of rather interesting questions, 5 of which I will go over, but I would suggest that you read this on your own to observe the other questions, plenty of which I personally didn't find interesting, but you might. The first question of the Q&A, a dude asked about weather and why it hardly ever rains in War Thunder. Personally, I have never actually seen it rain in a random battle. I've only seen screenshots of this mysterious stuff they call rain. And Gaijin replies with a distasteful answer, stating that they don't like to change the weather too much because it gives people issues with visibility, especially for aircraft. But a lot of people would really like to see some sort of nerf, I guess, to aircraft, because they've been complaining a lot about them. And honestly, having every so-and-so game be, well, aircraft aren't as effective this time would be rather great. Would be a nice change of pace. Another question I was very glad that we got an answer for. Someone asked, since we have radio-fused cells on destroyers, will we be seeing things like that for ground vehicles? For example, the K-29 in the flak bus. And the answer was yes, that they plan to introduce flak shells for those vehicles. The next question I also very liked is someone asked if German aircraft will be able to equip 1,800 kilogram bombs. Gaijin gave a rather weaselly answer they try to get out of it, saying it depends on how it will affect flight characteristics, e.g. will it be able to take off from airfields that we have in game. Why don't you just make the airfields bigger then? Come on, give us the cool bombs. So when asked if they plan to introduce any late 1930s bombers like the Ju-52 or some other, I assume, British ones, and they say that they do plan to add some late 30s aircraft. I really wish they would add some early 30s aircraft like the Ki-20 or the K-7 Kirkland, which are both massive, slow, hilarious bombers that would make great premiums, or hey, maybe even main tree vehicles. And a final question that I decided to go over. Someone asked if they plan to add German prototype bombers like the Ju-98, Ju-89, the Do-19, the Me-264, the Ju-390, etc. And Guide replied, we have similar aircraft in our general plan. It's a rather broad answer. I think it really just means soon. There was another Q&A on the shooting range, but I'm not going to go over any of these questions because they were rather horrible. There should be a link to the video in the description, and maybe if I remember to put a card in. Gaijin continues to test out the spawn point system for sim battles. I went over this last week. They're having it this week again if you haven't noticed already, but they've changed up what cost what. If you're interested in that, there should be a link below as well. Our summer event is coming to a close, but apparently China has just started theirs, and what's rather interesting or silly is that they have 14 event vehicles up for grabs. I don't know how you get them or what. And these 14 vehicles are vehicles that we've already seen in past events. One of them includes the E100. And I believe their E100 has the muzzle brake. Though even further rather silly is that apparently the way they gave out the E100 in China is that they just gave it to everyone who logged in on a certain date. So I guess it's not a special vehicle at all. And on the unofficial patch notes side of things, the Ki-49-2, if you've seen Mike Goes Boom's video on it, apparently it sucks. They have since then increased the horsepower from 108.5% to 117% horsepower, which I would hope helps out the vehicle a lot. I think we have to see it actually in game to really get a good gist of it, but it's still not looking so great. Besides that, the pack wagon has lost its artillery support because it's a tank destroyer, and the Italian vehicles left in the German tree now have a little German symbol thingy before their name. That's just about everything. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. If you do not enjoy the video, hit the dislike button. If you have any comments and concerns about what I said, or if I missed anything throughout the week, throw me a comment down below. I'll get back to you. If you want to see more of these videos, I make them every weekend. Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to be notified when I launch them up, which is typically on Sunday, you can hit that bell icon, and it should give you a little notification. And besides that, I hope you have a great day.